Russian sail offers a wide selection of drawings, paintings, bronze sculptures, and decorative objects dating to the early 19th century all the way to the last decades of the 20th century. We have works by Zinaida Serebryakova, Natalia Goncharova, Dmitry Stiletsky, Konstantin Korovin, David Sternberg. Decorative section of the sail is represented by the wonderful variety of objects made by Fable firm of Carl Fabergé, large glass and porcelain armorial service, rare and important porcelain vases made on the Imperial Porcelain Factory, and large selection of icons deaccessioned from the Seattle Art Museum and sold to benefit acquisition fund of that institution. In the fine art section, we have 11 works by Nicholas Roerich dating to the early period of his career. They include theatrical drawings completed in 1909 and 1917, views of Karelian islands where he spent summer of 1917-1918, scenes from his trips to Arizona in the United States and trips to India and Mongolia. Magnificent painting by Nicholas Roerich was painted in 1918. It's entitled Praying Starlight, which later received a different title called Ecstasy in the United States. It perhaps represents the most significant work in the artist's career, and certainly one of the most important of the earlier period. It was painted in Karelia, where artists spent 2 years in 1916-18. It was a difficult time for the artist. He left behind Russia, which was inflamed in the War of the Revolution and the Civil War, and he was contemplating his own beginning and new spiritual journey. In the composition, the upright standing figure of the praying hermit is standing on the little rock. You can see that his feet become part of the rock beneath. His beard grew very long, perhaps attesting to the duration of his spiritual search. And yet he presents a very powerful image. Cliffs and rocks on the background of this painting rendered to represent human faces and profiles, perhaps suggesting that this spiritual search that the praying hermit is undergoing has a long-lasting tradition, and inviting as a viewer to contemplate our own spiritual journey. David Sternberg's Still Life with Fruit was painted in the late 1920s and reflect artist influence of the time spent in Paris in the earlier years. David Sternberg was always celebrated as an artist who played with space and form and shape of the objects. He was actually obsessively looking for the essence of the objects, thus creating an interesting composition, which are very sublime in their simplicity, but very effective. One of the highlights of the sale is this monumental painting by Ivan Ivazovsky, painted in 1892. It is one of the 5 works constituting Columbus series. Series was very important to the artist. He worked on that for a very long time. And he sent the entire series to represent Russian art at the International Columbian Exposition in Chicago in 1893. The scene depicts arrival of Columbus to the American shore. You can see 2 boats anchored far away in the distance, and 2 small boats heading towards the American coast. On the rock formation, here you see the group of Native Americans observing in amusement the arrival of the large ships to the American coast. This magnificent painting is a wonderful example of the artist's masterful composition and skillful rendering of the sky.